Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB.
What is it? Wouldn't you like to know? Fucker. Got your ass.
And boy, oh boy, this one feels different. I just got back from the theaters after seeing Beetlejuice. Don't say it 3 times. I think we're okay saying it twice. This is a 2024 film that is once again directed by Tim Burton. And I say once again because obviously, I'm sure most of us know, the original film that came out in 1988, the same year I was born. So it's safe to say that I have grown up watching and rewatching that film so many times throughout my life. It's like I know that movie front to back. I know that film probably more than I should have. It's one of my favorites, and so I was a little nervous when I heard about them doing a sequel. All of these years later, I mean, shit. Because when you do sequels decades upon decades later, how many of them end up being good? This film, we follow Lydia Dietz back. She's no longer a 17-year-old girl. No, Winona Ryder is now whatever age she is. She has her own daughter now, played by Jenna Ortega, and you see that her father has passed away, and so they go back to the town. They go back to the original house where all of the shenanigans took place, and so, of course, the shenanigans come back, and a lot of them revolve around Beetlejuice. What I thought of Beetlejuice is I had fun with this film. I think I enjoyed it to an extent, but I can't say I loved it overall. It's kind of a mixed bag. There's a part of me that was watching this with my critical movie reviewer brain and having a lot of issues. And then there was another part of me that was like, we're back! We're back in the house. We're back in the town. We're back with some of these characters. And so some of it I had fun with. I enjoyed. I had, of course, nostalgia going back to this world again. And I got a huge kick out of seeing Michael Keaton back in the makeup, back as the Beetlejuice character. But I don't think, like, if somebody came out of this and said, I didn't like it, I would probably say, I get it. I get it, man. Because this movie's a little all over the place. First of all, Winona Ryder, I like seeing this comeback of Winona Ryder just in general ever since Stranger Things. It's like you're seeing her in more and more stuff. But it is funny to see her go back to this character specifically because however old she is, she still looks great, still super attractive, but she's sort of wearing her goth type outfits that she wore in the original movie when she was 17, and so it just kind of looks a little silly. But her in her relationship with her daughter, it kind of got annoying. Jenna Ortega as Astrid, Lydia's daughter, I was a little annoyed over the fact of like, oh, I don't like you, mom, and we bicker, or she ignores her. It felt very cliched. It felt like I've seen a relationship, a dynamic like this between mother and daughter so many fucking times. Now, I just wanted to see them bond over the fact that they're both weird, over the fact that they're both a little emo. Like, I think we could have taken more advantage of a mother-daughter relationship that is very unlike the stepmother and daughter relationship that Lydia had with Catherine O'Hara, which Catherine O'Hara coming back to this role and sort of stealing the scenes whenever she's there. She has so much energy. She still, after all these years, feels like that character that was from the original movie, and so she was great. Speaking of that, I mentioned that the father from the original film, his character passed away, because obviously we're not going to have that actor back. Gross. If you don't know, Google it. And so I was surprised, though, because of that, how much of the story revolved around the character's death and how much the character is referenced and kind of shown in sort of a weird form, I'm like, you guys didn't need to spend so much time with the father character. We could have just maybe paid more attention to the main characters. And sure, we do spend a lot of time with Lydia and Astrid, but I still felt like we could have done without, for example, Justin Theroux. I like Justin Theroux in general. Like him as an actor, the stuff that I've seen him in, especially comedies, I'm fine with him. I just was very annoyed and very disinterested in his character. Him wanting to marry Lydia, him sort of forcing her to do all of these things, do these shows, and just sort of exploit the things that she's able to do. I didn't care about any of that, and I think a big part of the movie, too much of the movie, was about that. And it's just, I don't know, didn't care for it. Michael Keaton, I mentioned, back as Beetlejuice, he was great. It was great to see Keaton at his age. He's like 70 now, and he was still able to just jump back into this character. Because of the makeup, he was still able to look the same, act the same, and it works. It does. We obviously get more of Beetlejuice the character than we did in the first movie because now they just get to play with it a little more. But it's interesting when you think back and realize how much of the original film was more about Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin. They were the main characters, and we spent the most time with those two characters in particular. They're not in this new movie, I guess for obvious reasons. And so to have so much stuff with Beetlejuice and to have so much stuff with his ex-wife, played by Monica Bellucci, which I'll never complain about getting Monica Bellucci on my screen. Seeing her in front of me, I'm like, yeah, this makes sense why you bring this actress here. She's hot. But the whole side plot of her character coming back from the dead or the undead and wanting to get revenge for something, it was a big waste of time. I thought it was going to amount to like a bigger thing. I thought she was going to end up being the big bad and the big threat. And what that amounts to, there is too much going on in this movie. And these are just a couple of things that I can point to and say, you could have cut that character out. You could have cut that side plot out. Willem Dafoe is an undead character named Wolf Jackson, and he's actually great. Willem Dafoe, of course, I'm going to look at him and say he's tremendous, just acting-wise, the way he pours himself into this role. Him being this character who he's dead, and he's acting like almost like a ghost detective. I found that kind of fascinating that they would even have this type of operation going on in the underworld. But he's really just an actor who was playing a cop and then died. So he just still acts like the role, the cop that he was playing. It's very fascinating and funny, and that actually brought me a few laughs seeing him do that. There was this side plot which at first I was rolling my eyes almost to the point where you wouldn't have seen my pupils anymore. I was so bored at first with Jenna Ortega's character veering off to have this romance with this character Jeremy, played by Arthur Conti. And I just thought, wow, did we not need this as a side plot? This romance, this teenage love. What are we doing with this bullshit? And then it took a dark turn. Then it went down a path where I thought, oh shit, this is fascinating, actually. This ended up being one of the more interesting parts of the film. Probably didn't spend enough time with that portion of that once it got to that place. Danny Elfman doing the music and the score was perfect. I would have loved even more of the dark, gothic Danny Elfman type music that I think this movie could have done a little more with. And the practical effects was very appreciated. The practical effects, the practical sets was something that I was hoping Tim Burton would go for. There is clearly CGI, and there is clearly a blend of CGI, and I didn't mind it as much because I thought the practical use and the practical sets, especially when they're in the underworld, it's like, Tim Burton, please stay in that realm. Practical sets, costumes, makeup, Stay away from CGI and do more of this shit. Not a perfect movie by all means. It's one of those things where you could debate on whether or not this even need to be made, if it was even worth being made. However, it was nice to go back to this world. It was nice to revisit some of these characters that, of course, I have grown up with in a lot of ways, and especially the actors who are still around and still able to be a part of this. A lot of this I enjoyed. More I enjoyed than not. So I will ultimately give this a good date movie. Realistically, it should maybe sound disappointing that I'm not giving it a full price or better than sex, because that's how much I love the original film. And I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to be honest with, it's not great, it's good. Let me know in the comments below if you too have seen Beetlejuice. What did you think of it? Did you like it as well? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!